Hey there, Leanne. So I'm just looking at your machine. I've already done the service, the cleaning, checkup, everything is fine. The only thing I'm doing now is just to change your grind settings, and yeah, it looks like what you have it on. You have it on number 3. It looks like that's way too fine. It's coming out almost like a flour powdery texture. It's very, very fine. So that would explain why your shots are coming out slow and bitter. Um, I might skip the part where I make a coffee on this setting. So I'm just going to calibrate it to the setting that I think is correct. So I'm going to jump from 3 to a 6, and I'm going to feel for the beans, the grounds texture. Usually just from the texture you can sort of get close enough, and then you make a coffee, rather than having to change the settings by one number, make a coffee, change it by another number, make another coffee. That would be a very long process. That's better at number 6. I might stop here. So because I changed the grind size, I'm gonna discard whatever I grind after I change the grind size. So let's say you're at number 6, you're at number 3, then you change it to number 6. The next 2 or 3 seconds of grinding is actually a mixture of the old and the new grind size, just because the machine retains a couple grams of coffee grounds in there. So just grind for a couple seconds and discard, so that now when I actually start grinding into the portafilter, the handle, I'm actually grinding the correct grind size and not the old grind size. Okay. I've also reset your your flow meter. Your shots were going forever, so I had to reset the flow meter for it to stop on time. Alrighty. I'm going to keep it at 12 o'clock, grind size number 6, single. Okay, that's the first dose. Should be close to 9 grams if we have the correct settings. Okay, it's not close to 9 grams. I'm going to go to 3 o'clock position. I'm also going to top it up. That's 9 grams. I'm going to press it with a portafilter. Do it again. Now testing the 3 o'clock position. So that gave us 8 grams. So hopefully at maybe the 4 o'clock position, that should give you about 9 grams every time you click. But if you're not sure, just grind extra, or grind until the portafilter is sort of full to the brim, and then press it down. Now it's exactly 18 grams. So 9 grams times 2 is 18. Hopefully, if you test it at these settings, you should be getting around 8.5-ish grams. So it's okay to be a little under the 18 gram dose, but being over the 18 gram dose will probably give you more trouble than going a bit under. So I'm going to keep it there at 4 o'clock. This is using your beans, the beans that came with your machine when you gave it to me. So I'm going to bunch up the coffee with my hand and then press it down. There we go. I'm going to wipe the edges, so it should look like nice and smooth. And in case you didn't know, you know that you have the correct amount of coffee when you press down on the tamper, and you can't go any deeper than that, and it's level with this part of the tamper. So this silver part on the tamper is like a guide, and when you tamp this deep, that means you have the correct amount of coffee. I'm going to lock it in, get rid of my hot water. Since this is actually my morning coffee, I'm just gonna add a bit of sugar as well. I'm gonna grab the spoon, mix things up. And now I'm ready to make the coffee. So I'm gonna reset my scale. I'm gonna reprogram the machine because when I reset the flow meter, it will reset to factory settings, and the factory settings are not great. They actually run for too long. So the factory settings usually give me 60 grams of espresso for a double shot, which I think is way too long. I will aim for closer to 40 grams. 35 to 40 grams should be the sweet spot for this coffee machine. If you recall, we put in 18 grams, and double of 18 is 36. So 36 is like a 2-to-1 ratio. That's what I'm aiming for. So anywhere between 35 and 40 is fine. And hopefully that should happen in 25 seconds from the time I press the button. If I have the grind size way too fine, like you had before, that 36 grams would probably take a minute to come out if it's way too slow. If the grind size is way too large, so let's say it was at 15 instead of 6, if it was at 15, the coffee will just flow through. So I would get the whole 36 grams in 5-10 seconds, which is not great either. So going too slow on the coffee or going too fine on the grind size will make it bitter. Going too large will make it sour. We don't want either of those, so we'll try to aim for the middle. I'm gonna press the program and then the double, and then start my timer. I'm gonna stop it when it reaches what I think is 40 grams. Keep an eye on the pressure. You want it to be around 10 to 12 o'clock. That was 18 seconds, so a bit too quick. I think the beans are a bit too old. Just looking at the flow and the lack of crema, I think the beans are a bit too old at this stage, so I would recommend you change the beans. But this is probably a drinkable shot. We got 39 grams. We got actually 39.9 grams, so about 40 grams. This is what it looks like if you're interested. This is about 39 grams. Let's say 40 grams in a cup. So I can eyeball it most of the time. Depending on your cup, you may be able to eyeball it as well. So you don't necessarily need to measure your coffee every single time, but it helps. Yeah, this is probably going to be a less bitter shot than before. But yeah, like I said, it's probably in the beans. So these beans are a bit too old, and you mentioned that they are dark roast. Dark roasts are often stronger and bitterer. So go for a medium roast and try to get the Aldi brand. I really recommend those. They're quite good. Even the Coles brand, it's okay if you use it within the first week or two after you buy it. Just be sure to not let the beans go stale. So I wouldn't fill the hopper entirely, because by the end of the week, these top beans would probably be stale and lose their freshness. So I would fill it maybe half, up to the halfway mark, and also the rest of the the rest of the bag of the beans, I would probably close it with a clip or put it in a vacuum canister so that it doesn't lose its freshness either. Yeah, so that's the espresso shot. Tastes pretty good. I always add sugar to my coffee regardless of the beans. That's just me. But without sugar, it would have probably tasted alright as well. But yeah, these are the settings that I would keep the machine on for this type of bean. Do try another bean, see how you go. And keep in mind that different beans will probably require different settings. So if you change your beans every week, you'll have to change your settings every week as well. And by settings, I mean the grind size. So some beans they brew very nicely at grind size 6. Some beans will probably need a grind size 7 or 8, 10, maybe grind size 5 or 4. So it just depends on the bean. I'm just gonna clean your machine and then clean up on the outside as well. And yeah, your machine is ready to go pretty much.